Hi, I'm State Representative J.T. Wilcox, and I represent the 2nd District, but I am also the House Republican leader. And I just want to take a few minutes and talk about what has happened here in the first week of this year's legislative session. You don't really get right to business, unfortunately. The first day is a little bit ceremonial, and we saw the election of the Speaker of the House, which always is the majority party, and that for the last 21 years now has been Frank Chopp. Frank Chopp is a legendary leader in Washington, and after he was speaking about his plans for the future, it was my turn to talk about our plans for the future. We have some things in common. We know that some of the biggest problems in Washington are common whether you live in a small town, a small city, or the biggest city in the Northwest. And we also know that the same solutions don't necessarily work in each place. And so my speech really centered around the idea that let's have some agreement on what the problems are, but then let's have some room for different solutions and ones that work for the people that live in the rural areas and smaller cities and towns as well. The next day was the State of the State speech by the governor. And I found that to be a much more political speech than either Frank or I gave. We know that the governor is thinking about running for the presidency, and I think that the thing that I'm most concerned about right now is the fact that we also need a governor that is putting the state of Washington first. And we will be watching that carefully. Speaking of watching things carefully, another thing that I talked about all week is the fact that Washington now is really a one-party state. We have one party in control of both chambers of our legislature. We have a court system that I think leans that direction, and we have a governor who at this point is being pretty ideological. And there are things that I don't like about that, but I have a job. And my job in the minority is to be very serious about government accountability and make sure that the majority understands that our job is to look out for those that are otherwise unrepresented and to make sure that somebody is shining a light on the bureaucracy, the agencies, the executive branch to be sure that they're not running over the people that are not part of the majority. And so the rest of the week I spent talking to my members, members on the other side, and the press all over the state, making sure that they understood that we are not going to roll over. We're going to stand up for our responsibility and for the people that aren't as well represented in today's one-party government. Thanks very much, and I'll talk with you next week.